Okay, so give an example of a time you witnessed technology helping a person with a disability. So very often at the Apple Store, I see people using technology to help themselves. Just yesterday, there was a blind gentleman who was using VoiceOver on his phone, just to read what was on his phone.
One of the biggest examples of this is our music in memory. We use iPods, mostly iPod shuffles, and the headphones, of course, and we load people's preferred music onto the iPods, and we use those when people want to relax, when people are agitated, when they're nervous, when they're anxious, really mostly with dementia. The folks with dementia is where we use them, and it's amazing. You see folks just relaxing or singing along or dancing, and just that piece of equipment that is so small, and you can put it on them wherever they are, even if they're wandering, or if they're trying to sleep. You put it on them and they immediately respond. So that is an amazing use of technology that we didn't have just several years ago.
People think that having a disability is a barrier. But that's not the way I see it. You can catch up with friends.
Ready?
You can capture a moment with your family.
One face, small face, focus lock.
And you can start the day bright and early. You can take a trip to somewhere new.
3 miles to the summit.
You can concentrate on every word of a story.
A bird began to sing. Jack opened his eyes.
You can take the long way home. Or edit a film like this one. When technology is designed for everyone, it lets anyone do what they love, including me.
The second question was to name an example of a time when you thought technology was holding back a person with a disability. I work with a lot of seniors with physical and mental disabilities, mostly with dementia. And the biggest problem I see is the person not being able to use the device independently.
Michelle answered, "Technology has held back my students when it does not function properly. Unfortunately, technology has glitches, and there is need for repair. When a student's only way of communicating is the use of a device, it becomes very frustrating for them, and most times behaviors will then occur."
We should all think that knowledge comes from our senses, so if we extend our senses, we will consequently extend our knowledge. I think life will be much more exciting when we stop creating applications for mobile phones and we start creating applications for our own body. I think this will be a big change that we'll see during this century.
So the third question is, how has technology impacted your life as a person who works with disability? In a lot of ways, technology creates abilities, right? I mean, my ability to record my video and send it is pretty amazing, regardless of whether or not I have a disability. Like, ideally, technology has created abilities that were never thought possible, and will continue to do that.
Instead of seeing color, I can hear color. In 2003, I started a project with computer scientist Adam Montandon, and The result, with further collaborations with Peter Queche from Slovenia and Matías Lizana from Barcelona, is this electronic eye. It's a color sensor that detects the color frequency in front of me and sends this frequency to a chip installed at the back of my head, and I hear the color in front of me through the bone, through bone conduction. So for example, if I have like, this is the sound of purple. For example, this is the sound of grass. This is red, like that. This is the sound of a dirty sock, which is like yellow, this one. So I've been hearing color all the time for 8 years, since 2004, so I find it completely normal now to hear color all the time.
Question number 3. How has technology impacted your life as a person who works with people with disabilities? Michelle answered, before working as a special education teacher, I never knew how or even if people with physical and cognitive disabilities were able to communicate. For example, one of my students is nonverbal, in a wheelchair, and has limited use of his hands. He uses Dynavox IMAX system, in which he uses his eyes instead of traditional mouse or keyboard. Without this system, I would have never known what he is able to do. He is able to add, subtract, read, answer questions, tell us how he feels, what he wants, and so much more. Every day I am amazed at what my students are capable of learning.
Well, I graduated college in 1989, and at that time we were very limited as far as technology, at least the way we use it today. So, first of all, it's very portable and very available. Whether I'm working with residents in assisted living, or I've also worked with children with autism, and also seniors with hospice. So with an iPad, you have instruments and applications to write songs and all kinds of things at your fingertips.
My favorite apps, program software that aids people with disability, KNFB Reader is an app you can download on iPhone. I mentioned it earlier, but you can take a picture of any sort of text, and it just reads you that text.
Dynavox, NovaChat, and Accent. I don't think there is one in particular that is my favorite. What I like best is that there are so many different programs that can be utilized for varying degrees of cognitive and physical disabilities. These programs promote independence, which I try to instill in all aspects of my students' lives each and every day. Gina chose It's Never Too Late, or IN2L, as her favorite program.
This has endless possibilities for connections, for relationships, for joyful interaction. It's building community.
IN2L has had like this permeating impact throughout the community. It's really helped to shape the way that we deliver care that's dignified and that provides a solution to people without the use of medication.
And here is another app I found.
I spent a lot of time at home alone, and that's when I came up with the idea of Access Map.
Access Map is, I like to think of it as a Yelp for people with disabilities. So a way of rating the wheelchair accessibility of businesses and places in your community.
So the way that it works now is that it's powered by Google, so Google's API. That means any place on Google Maps is going to be on Access Map. So all the places are there, we just need people's help to get out there and start rating all the places.
That's all for now. I hope you learned something new about how disabilities matched with the right technology can create abilities and independence. Thank you for watching.
'Cause you know, girl, that every little thing you do, even when I'm feeling blue, oh, it makes me smile. Yes, we're going through some stormy weather, bless the fact we still move together. 'Cause I know we'll find the light on the other side.